Shell that we have played in the past, and it's a shell that, you know, kind of looking through old decks is just a perfect place for Up the Beanstalk. Not only was this a deck that's already playing Solitude, Leyline Binding, but you also have a few other 5-mana spells and Mulldrifter, Elesh, and Elesh Norn. Older builds are playing like Avalanche Riders in the main deck as a way to win the game, really, because the problem. So this shell here, this kind of like this package of cards, is super duper grindy. You find a lot of Solitudes, Leyline Bindings, Elesh Norn doubles up the triggers. You like blow up all your opponent's permanents, but then actually like winning the game from that point is kind of difficult. And so I considered main decking like Obsidian Charmaw because it triggers Bean over Avalanche Riders. You can still just main deck some Avalanche Riders too, I guess. It is really important to have like a real win condition though, especially with Heartless Summoning, shrinking your creatures. It can be very easy to just like not have a good way to close out games. You also have Emeria to like bring stuff back in the very late game, of course. And I'll say this is a pretty good Emeria deck. Like brought back is a good way to accelerate out enough planes to get your Emerias online. But instead of that land destruction game plan, I've been trying out Etali, Primal Conqueror. This is a card that was crazy and mod limited, also a very good standard card. It's a 7/7 trample. When it enters the battlefield, you basically cascade from both players' libraries until you hit any non-land card, and you cast them without paying their mana costs. So, at a very base level, very good Ephemerate target. You can double up the triggers with Elesh Norn 2, which you get 4 spells when you cast it. And you can also spend 9 mana to flip it to turn it into like into a Blightsteel Colossus. Very, very, very powerful card. Costs only 5 mana with Heartless Summoning, can brought back to accelerate into it, can Nissa to accelerate into it. And this is, you know, your win condition. It's a way to go over the top of the other 4-color decks. Main decking triple Elesh Norn is a good way to beat the other 4-color decks as well, I think. And this is a really, really, really good Beanstalk deck. Our current strategy, I think, is to just not keep a hand that doesn't contain a Heartless Summoning, a Beanstalk, or a brought back +2 fetch lands. There'll be some hands that we can keep that are not exactly in that range, but for the most part, you really want to play one of these really, really impactful 2-drops on turn 2, then start drawing a lot of cards. So let's get going. Let me make sure I'm going to drop and rejoin because I'm against another key hero, the Orphan Guard. Why Maul over Kodo? Really abbreviating Kodo out here. Knights of... I would play... I don't know what Kodo is. Avalanche Riders is a card we played in the past. Charmaw is very, very good against Tron, and it triggers Beanstalk, and you can even board it in some other matchups. I don't know what Kodo is, though. They just have a counter spell here, probably. If I draw a fetch land, it's really good to not get anything, but I think with this hand specifically really need my Obsidian Charmaw, so let's just get the Obsidian Charmaw. I would have drawn the fetch land for whatever that's worth. I think I go for Bean first, kind of close. Oh yeah, maybe they just don't have a counter spell. Get a breeding pool. Oh yeah, confirmation bias. Now that's a term I would know if I had stayed in school. Bruce says Kodo and apologize to explain what Kodo is. Yeah, please tell me what Kodo is. I'm dying over here. I'm gonna upkeep binding. Avalanche Rider. Yeah, but how is Avalanche Rider Kodo? Is that like the invitational card person? So I think a good exchange for me, huh? Alright, Battle of the Beans. Don't have a land yet, unfortunately. We got a 1 mana draw 4. Got 25 lands in the deck. Come on, 25 lands. Let's go, dude. No, you're kidding! Fuck off. Alright, I need somebody to calculate the odds of that so I can complain some more, but we're gonna go to discard. Okay, a 25 land deck. What are the odds of only drawing 3 lands in the top 21 cards? 22 cards. Yeah, I guess maybe I could have just evoked the Solitude. You're right, actually. We'll do that now. Maybe we could have started off with Binding. But I want to draw a land and then go Nissa into land. Although I suppose I could still do that because I have this. Yeah. Also, we don't even know what Kodo is yet. They concede? Wow. They concede the match, dude. They concede the match. Island go. GG's FGC. Yeah, duck look cool. I'm gonna just take a draw here. We can still cast Binding and... Yeah, although now I don't want to just like shock my Temple Garden. I'm gonna, I think, get both Triumphs in the turn potentially into like this likely counterspell, you know. Ooh, maybe they're not Murktide though. It could be Rhinos still. They could be Blue Moon. Well, Blue Moon with Islet's really unlikely. Yeah, pretty players, they're just Rhinos. How popular is Blue Moon? It's pretty popular. They usually sideboard the Blood Moons and play Ragavan, DRC, Murktide. I know, it's not really what I talk about. I guess Blue Moon is now like the Snapcaster Flame of Venor deck. That deck is actually kind of popular. I love a Solitude. Maybe we could upkeep this. Just think and force the Beanstalk. Yeah, I mean they still can counter it for what it's worth. Okay, Solitude or bust for the most part. Could draw like Mulldrifter or something into that though. Yeah. Don't have another fetch land, unfortunately. Suppose I'm not exactly dead, because I can jump and go to 1, but probably realistically dead. Feels really bad that I can't like block the agent and go to 1. Sideboard is loose, but the main deck has been good. Yeah, I mean, there's a comment too about how my sideboards are like always like really like I don't know what the word was, but I play a lot of the same card, like a lot of copies of the same card. But this is just like how when you're playing so many different decks, this is just how your sideboards are. You play like a lot of like your best sideboard cards, and like they get more tuned as time goes on. It's so difficult to have tuned sideboards when you're brewing and you're still like pretty early into the process of a new build. So I don't usually put too much worries about the sideboard being hammered out. Suspends of Footfalls. Okay, this would be a fun game to win. A little late on the fetch land. Oh, they went their list? Yeah, sure, okay, fair. Oh, I mean, I think what I said also stands true for their list too. For the inverted deck. Now, I want to take a look at it. Let me sideboard real quick. Should be like at least one Etali, Summoning. Hallowed Shrine seems good. Well, yeah, Etali's only 5 mana with Heartless Summoning at least. Oh, wait, you thought Etali was just 5 mana, that's funny. With that, just naturally. You'd be singing along to that card. Persist is really interesting in this deck. I actually don't really get the persists. So they get back your trolls, and then like it's not that good to. Is it good to get back in Diverter? Not that often. I'm a little confused by it. Looks cool though. I like the talismans a lot. Oh, it's your scam card for grief. Duh, sorry, it's your scam card for grief. Got it. Okay, let's keep this. Enter the Tundra with the 7 months and Bog with the 24. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. That's all the mana sources. 26. Yeah. You have 4 Shelldocks though. You really need to hit your land drops. I think it's fine. It's a good pickup. Gonna be like a little weird, the decision to hold up Reprieve or just go like jam Heartless Summoning into brought back. Or sorry, Heartless Summoning into Mulldrifter. Or Heartless Summoning pass is also like kind of reasonable. I guess if they just ice me, then it's easy hold up Reprieve. Am I qualified for Atlanta or Denver? I'm qualified for Atlanta. I haven't played any qualifiers for Denver yet. I don't know when I will, but at some point maybe. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and brought back this turn, I guess. My hand has so much action, I think just instant speed rampant growth is fine. Would Heartless Summoning be better if it wasn't symmetrical? Probably. I think Blueback Mill is a deck worth picking up. Yeah, that deck's okay. How have the Granges felt? There's one Grange, and it's like definitely correct to play. The mana's rough. Emeria, Triomes, like they just you get the double the counters with the Elesh Norn. It's like really good with brought back. I would never cut it. Should be fine. Kind of tempting to untap and get double binding triggers with Elesh Norn. Probably better when I just have so many cards to use my mana as efficiently as possible. Yeah, this Etali costs 5. We have to fetch Shock for it, though. Which is probably okay. Let's see what we draw off the Ephemerate Mulldrifter. Thoughts to keep up Reprieve for Rhinos. The thing is they missed their land drop last turn, so keeping up Reprieve is like less important because of that. And we also like just don't really care that much if they're Rhino anyways. I'm gonna wait a turn on Etali, despite it being definitely the right content play. And then I'm going to go double counter on Mulldrifter. Pass back. Double triggered binding next turn should be pretty good. I think Asmodee scales are good decks to start the format. They seem to be the ones I like. Yeah, if you like the deck, if any deck that you like and think is cool is the best deck to pick up and start playing. I think both those decks are good and they're hard to learn, but really any deck that you're trying to pick up in Modern that you haven't played before is going to be difficult to learn. So I encourage you to just play the decks you think are interesting. Something I always encourage people to do. Okay, let's see if they're going to play their Burn spell first. I'm going to do this now. Binding up an instant player on Force. Yeah. Or one thing is too, the binding just doesn't even really need to resolve very much. Commandeer. What a line. Alright, if you have 2 more blue cards in your hand, you deserve it. They also have a Force of Negation. Dispute, sure. Well, that's quite the line, I have to say. Oh, but because they control the spell, they control it. It still says non-land permanent an opponent controls. It's still by spell, they just gain control of it. Weird. I feel like they should have been able to cast it, huh? Oh, but no, sorry, it's the Norn. Is it the Norn? Is Norn the reason why this isn't triggering? Is it both? Is it both? I don't know. Let's cast Etali. 5 mana, draw a card, cast 4 spells. So I shouldn't have reprieved, I guess. I see. Cool. Look at the draw, I went the 4th Heartless Summoning. Honestly, Etali looked great there too. Is there a way I can get both back in? Maybe I could trim a brought back because I've got all these reprieves. Could trim a Nissa on the draw. Not sure. This hand looks great. A little bit awkward with the brought back and the reprieve, but be okay maybe. Do I lay down? No, I don't. If I did, I would have brought it in. That card is mostly for Elesh Norn, but comes in a few other matchups too. That's if you want to take a nap, I see. Yeah, I'm down. Just do a sleeping stream. It's what people actually do sometimes. I always think it's kind of weird, to be honest. What other color am I getting? I am definitely getting another color. I guess I get Godless Shrine. So I can get Raugrin Triome for Domain if this resolves. If it doesn't resolve, I got 3 of my colors. Yeah, mostly with subathons. That actually does make a lot more sense. I think I'd rather have double reprieve up this turn than Up the Beanstalk. 3 blue mana on my... Okay, there just is like... Sack to draw a card. Well, I always love when my opponent does like the best thing possible for me, I guess. Definitely get Raugrin Triome. I think I also just get my Sacred Foundry because I've got the Italis in here. Isn't the Rider's Strike over now? Maybe I'm misremembering. If they force this, I'm gonna reprieve my my own Beanstalk here, I think. Well, I can't replay it this turn. Commandeer, huh? Alright, take it. They pitch 2 Lord Reveals and a Borrower. Yeah, a lot of blue cards, huh? They must think I have the ring in their deck. They've got these Commandeers and Questing Beasts. So their hand is Rhino's Mystery, Crashing Footfall's Mystery card. Great pickup. Does the bean come back to us if the binding goes away? It should, yeah. Not that we have any way to get rid of the binding at the moment. So they suspend the footfalls, plays the land. They got a mystery card over there. Looking for a Mulldrifter. Take a Solitude. We also have our Idyllic Grange, or our Emeria online, so if they do kill anything or have Violent Outburst to block, it's just not really a problem. Reading into Bean Saga? What's Bean Saga? Is that the saga that copies stuff? I feel like I've seen that on like Amy stream sometimes. Can't remember what it does. Yeah, I feel like the Rhinos matchup is probably pretty good. Maybe they mis-sideboarded a little bit. Maybe not. But trying to think about, like, is Commandeer a main deck bean? And you also, like, you know, you're also in white because you're playing Leyline Binding. And so you have Nissa to dig for Solitude. This and bean just goes so well together. You don't really see the card that often in like the 4-color Omnath decks. I actually think it's a mistake that you don't. I think it's a card that 4-color players should be playing more of. The Lonus deck, huh? Very interesting. Don't think I need to Solitude anything right now. Any room for a bean plus tribute to the World Tree for insane evoke spice. Usually when people have like awful ideas like this, and you know, awful is not the right word, but like uncompetitive ideas, they try to sell it going spice, insane spice. But for the most part, it's not the kind of stuff I like to cook up. Undeniably spicy, undeniably insane. Could Solitude this here, I think. Let's not. Elesh Norn's really going to be really strong. They can have one of each. Okay, I get to go Nissa into Elesh Norn here. Wow, it's also a very good pickup. Preferred split for Ozolith Ring, Cauldron, and Scales deck. I want at least 3 Cauldrons. Right now I'm playing 4, 2 green Ozolith, 1-mana Ozolith, 0 rings main with a couple rings in the sideboard. But I could certainly see. I could see going down one of the 1-mana Ozoliths. think it's fine. Just to some extent, it's maybe been a little bit too sacred cowed. This turn is pretty crazy. This is also ridiculous in this deck. This turn is like mana positive and put a Mulldrifter in our hand, and the Mulldrifter costs 1 mana and draws us 4 cards. Although those 4 cards were, and then those 4 cards not very good. just an average turn. I guess we could keep this if they like Besage you, Heartless Summoning. It doesn't really matter. How good is brought back? Been looking at that for a long time. I mean, this was like the first ever good brought back deck that I played when we first had the first draft of this a while ago. Can't remember when it was. It's very good in this deck, but it requires a very specific deck to build around. And like there's a lot of cards like brought back that are very powerful. They're very powerful, but they're not so powerful that just including it is going to compensate for a diminished card quality overall. But if you just kind of happen to be like an Emeria deck that like wants to be playing like all of these like evoke cards, ends up being really good. Okay. So if I play my fetch land, I get to Nissa trigger on my turn, and I get to Nissa trigger on my opponent's turn also. Although I don't get to trigger my Idyllic Grange. Thank you, Nissa. So there's an Up the Beanstalk, which I could play here, I guess. Draw 2. Brought back's probably pretty good. Yeah, I really think that the Knight of Sweet Revenge deck we've been playing is a lot better than this Lonis build. I agree. Lonis is the worst card in their shell by a lot. There could be something I'm missing. Just gonna deck ourselves. So they're, yeah, just back it in. Cool. And these two cards play so well together. Like Elesh Norn doubling up the mana is pretty ridiculous. Okay, get to bring in the Ingot Chewers. Would love to go like Beanstalk into 1 mana, evoke Ingot Chewer, draw a card. Probably a good matchup for lay down arms also. Does feel like the Etali is pretty unnecessary in this specific matchup. I think the new turtle is bad here. Double green is not particularly realistic, and then I am interested in returning to the turtle. Maybe a slightly more combo focused shell. Not you know, not too focused, but some. It's also, we can maybe just like be 62 cards post board. Is that crazy? I think I'll maybe just be 61, kind of brought back. They're playing Violent Finale. I don't think they usually play Finale. Charmaw for Sagas? Could play like 1 Charmaw. First Charmaw honestly goes a long way. I think on the play, though. Don't really want it on the draw. We found 3 Nissa to be right about 1 to the 4th. I think usually you don't want the 4th. I think this is a shell where the 4th copy is probably fine. That being said, I would probably play the 4th Ephemerate over the 4th Nissa. I was thinking you could be more than 60 cards in this deck pretty easy. And then you could play 4 Ephemerate, 4 Nissa, 4 Heartless Summoning, and like 26 or 27 lands. It'd be like 64, 65 cards. That was an avenue I was considering, and I'd said just be 60 instead. Do you know any of my 4-color specking popularity? It's good. Is very, very simply, that deck is really good, and it's also the kind of deck people really like to play. Just a pile of all the good cards, lots of value, very easy to play, very forgiving strategy too. It's just like kind of hard to keep a hand that doesn't have a Bean, Heartless Summoning, or brought back. I'm gonna think I'm gonna mulligan. This hand doesn't have any of those either, but it's probably one we have to keep now that we've already mulliganed once. What's the deal with Etali? It's like randomly good, really good in the deck. And we also needed a win condition. I know that it is a seemingly weird one. But card's really good. And really good in the deck. Hello, Sam. Okay, they graveyard a cookbook. A lot more Steel Seeker triggers. I'd like to play this turn, but I also really want to have a fetch land for the following turn. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get our Sacred Foundry, shall we? Play Nissa. If we draw a fetch land, we get to go Elesh Norn into 1 mana Leyline Binding with 2 triggers. Or I guess 1 mana Ingot Chewer. Samantha with the 44, we're doing well. They have Yavimaya. What did you want me to do instead? Just tap the Flooded Strand? Yeah, you're right. That would have been good. Thanks again, Samantha. So they have 2 mana left after this between the Goose and the Cookbook. They Sam back the Cookbook, which is going to net them, I guess, mana neutral. Can't imagine them not winning here. I think it's like somewhat likely that they can't actually kill me this turn. With Heartless Summoning Elesh Norn, we can pay 5 mana, cast 4 spells. Seems decent. I think that's probably an old comment, huh? But yeah. So they still have 2 mana. They bring back their Lonus. Oh, they had a land drop still to play. It's pretty big. I will say that their Gingerbread Cabin feels pretty tough, like with their Bant mana base compared to the like mostly mono green splashing color. It's obviously like doable, but they are also playing the Yavimaya. Maybe we should have Yavimaya. It's tough in the other list though, because like we're cheating on like black sources for Asmo. We need basics for mini partings, so it's kind of hard to cut a basic for it. Is Modern basically moving to 2-color splash domain, or are there still strong reasons to stick to 2 3-color combo decks? Yeah, there are a lot of like these 4 or 5-color variants, but it's all kind of the same archetype, and there are most of the decks in Modern are not splashing Leyline Binding. A lot of brews end up splashing Leyline Binding too, but like let's not pretend like this is like in any way established thing, but. No, 2-color deck, 2-color deck, 2-color deck, monocolor decks, very light splash, big mana combo deck, 2-color deck. Not binding, but it's 3 colors. Monocolor deck, Tron, monocolor deck. It's like we have, you know, 2 binding variants at the top here. Alright, I think at this point we're gonna go game 3. Yeah, the most popular deck is only 2 colors. It can maybe feel that way though, because there's so many different versions of these domain decks. You have a lot of different card choices, but it's all kind of the same. Although this one's, you know, a little bit different for sure. Wait, I totally just blew past it. Scales is at the front of the. Hold on, holy shit. Scales is like not usually this high on the goldfish, right? Let's go, dude. Scales. 2nd row, 10th place. Let's go. I mean, Scales is probably like, in my opinion, like Scam, Omnath, and Scales are like kind of the best 3 decks in Modern. And like, you know, I'm definitely like a Scales main at the moment. Very, very cool. I heard that it did really well in challenges this weekend, but I haven't really been looking at results. It kind of always does, though. But Rhinos, I would put Scales above Rhinos. Yawgmoth is maybe like secretly a lot better than I give it credit for because it's so good with Cauldron, but Yawgmoth is also pretty bad against Omnath and Scam, and like, that's what I like about Scales. I like the Scam matchup. I like the Omnath matchup with Scales. If I'm playing Scales, I'm comfortable playing against Scam, Omnath, Rhinos, Murktide. Bad matchup against Yawgmoth. I feel good about playing against Hammer. Bad matchup against Titan. Good matchup against Burn. Great matchup against Living End. Bad matchup against Tron. Bad matchup against Coffers. Bad matchup against Creativity. Good medium, I think. Maybe just a bit more polarized in general, right? I got turn 2 Bean. Let's keep. Gives us Scales. Well, I've been wanting to play Scales with 4 Cauldron as like backup deck for a while. I've just been playing too many Cauldron decks, so it's kind of tough for me to like lead on it. But I've also done like a ton of Scales content. I'm glad people are picking it up. How good do you think Steel Overseer could work in Scales without Cauldron? The thing is, like, Steel Overseer is good in... Sorry, Scales is good without Steel Overseer. Like, you get to play a pile of good cards that don't require you to play Steel Overseer. Why do we want to play Steel Overseer? That card is... I would much rather play Stirrings over Overseer. Apparently Mistaken, who, congratulations, did well in the challenge over the weekend, playing... Oh, very cool. Playing the card, but was saying, oh, if I just have all good cards, I don't need Ancient Stirrings. But the problem with that, I think the problem with that thought is, like, one, Steel Overseer is not a good card, but also, like, Stirrings gives you so much, like, insulation against Mana Flood, Mana Screw, lets you dig for your Cauldron, lets you dig for, like, Urza Saga in some games. It's just such an important piece. Could it be that they played Oldest? Not in that specific case, no. But and then like the thing also is like Steel Overseer is, I think, only good when you're Cauldroning, right? Or it seems like it's most likely just going to be good when you have Cauldron active and stuff. It doesn't really seem like a card that that you're like very excited to have. If it doesn't, if you don't play it, it dies. I think you have Cauldron, but Cauldron's already insane in your deck. Yeah, Stirrings also digs for like sideboard cards a lot too. But this is also the thing, like whenever you have a good deck in Modern, let me binding the cookbook here. Whenever you have a good deck in Modern, like Scales is a good deck, there's always like slightly suboptimal options to play, and like we can like agree and disagree on like what they are, but it's always gonna be like this, like for a long time, Scam was the most popular deck, but they were main decking Seasoned Pyromancer, but it was still like a suboptimal thing for a long time, and it takes some time to figure it out. So I'm glad that people are trying it, and but one tough thing with like trying out like a really good deck like Scales is you can have a suboptimal build and not realize it because your deck is just really good, and the card you're choosing to play is not that bad either. If that makes sense. Yeah, you already have so many 2-drops in the Scales deck, so like your curve gets even worse. I think Spiral's optimal for Bowmaster. Yeah, that's what I was talking about though. Like people were, that's what I'm saying. They were still playing Spyro when Bowmaster was printed for like a pretty long time. Like a few weeks, and until it kind of got accepted that was not the way to go. Oh, I forgot I have Ingot Chewer in my deck. I definitely should have made a red. Okay, we can evoke this next turn, though. Draw a card for 1 mana. It'll be good, and we've got them pretty low on resources at the moment. What do you do about Jund? You don't need a good place to start. Does it have to be Jund Saga? So you did Turn of Orchard came out. It does not have to be Jund Saga. I think if you don't play Jund Saga, you should be playing Children in the One Ring. and I don't think that Jund is like better than Scam or For Color, but you can play both of it. You can play it and it's fine. I also don't think it's better than like the mono black no coffers deck is very similar to Jund. I think that deck is better also. Could some number be ending be worth it for late game Beanstalk draws over some late on arms? Late on arms kills Elesh Norn a bit easier for like 1 mana kill Elesh Norn is such a big deal that I want to keep late on arms. So want to thin first? So we got a Mulldrifter. Let's go to Invoke. Kill the Vial. Then now maybe I'm just going to hold up Hardcast Solitude. Seems like a fine decision point. Can't do both. But these constructs are going to be pretty big, so managing them seems nice. Asmard with the Twitch Prime, thank you. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome back. Or welcome for the first time. Whatever. To get a cookbook. They should just know I have Solitude, I think. I go ahead and cast it. Even if they have like Manufactor, it's just so hard for it to be so dangerous, and it should be very easy for me to have a answer for Manufactor anytime. Think Extraction is good right now? Not really, no. I'm not, like in Scam, like you already have like Voidwalker for Graveyard Hate, and you can play Leyline of the Void, which is better than Mirror, better against Living End, which are the main spots you want Graveyard Hate. Like that would be I would think the main matchup you'd even want that kind of effect. Ingot Chewer is really cool in this deck. I think I make another red, just so I can maybe evoke Ingot Chewer and find Etali. Or find the last Ingot Chewer. I guess I could hardcast this one, potentially. I'm not Mulldriftering, though. Yeah, just evoke, it's fine. Can maybe find brought back. Not that killing these few tokens really does much, I suppose. Yeah, Ingot Chewer triggering Beanstalk is very fun. And then what's cool about Ingot Chewer is like not only does it trigger Beanstalk, we're also an Ephemerate brought back deck, so we have like 12 cards. The card is really good. And Nissa to dig for it. We have just our whole deck is so good with Ingot Chewer. 3-0. I feel like I want a greedy keep. Never really that greedy. A red source. Well, maybe that's kind of what it's like to play this deck. Also, they may play Urborg though and help me out. There we go. Cold shot, paid actor. It's kind of funny. And then they don't have another land to play. Good news also. Yeah, but now we just need Yavimaya. A little bit worried about Cling to Dust here, but at least they won't be drawing a card off of it. I still need a green, but we'll take it. I guess maybe holding Solitude for Bowmaster. I mean, they would have already Bowmastered, never mind. Their removal spell, March or something. I guess they could have another Urborg in their hand. They don't definitely not have a land. Okay, there's my green mana. So they may Field of Ruin in response to Nissa here. I was against Bowmaster. You can kill it sometimes. Card is good against us. So I'm kind of trying to bait my opponent to use this Field of Ruin here. They'll do something end of turn though. They'll like either they'll kill something or they will Field of Ruin. So I'll be able to get 2 things off my brought back almost regardless of what happens here. And you know, if they play around the brought back by passing mana, it seems like kind of an unlikely thing for them to do, but also one that's not even really that big of a problem if they happen to. All right, Thoughtseize resolves. Oh fuck. No. Okay. The danger of the couch, I guess. Let's fix that later. That should be fine. We just got unplugged. Ancestral Recall. There's an Etali. It's gonna be pretty fun. I'm 1 mana short of casting Etali right now. Don't really want to overcommit. Guess you just play this. Yeah, I can't mess with that now. Alright. Can go Nissa into Etali. Nissa is mana neutral at least. I think we'll just play Emeria. When I make green and cast Bean, I wanted to hold a binding for a One Ring of theirs, and I'm worried. I'm like actually worried about decking myself. I think there's a good chance I'm just not supposed to play another Bean. If I need the cards, I'll be able to get them. Elesh, Norn, Orcish Bowmaster. So let's go cast in this order for the extra trigger. They've already used 1 damnation. They typically play 2, yeah. They could, I guess. And then they also need to have a 4th land for it also because they had the Urborg. Etali is pretty dang good. Okay, Reprieve against like the mono 4-color Jack is usually pretty good. Charmaw is probably a card we want access to. Celestial Purge against the mono black deck, surprisingly not that important. They will have some number of Bowmasters, so I think I'm gonna keep it like 3 Solitude. Maybe it could go down. I think trimming a Heartless Summoning is fine. Trimming a Brought Back is fine. Trimming an Ephemerate is fine. Maybe Elesh Norn gets cut. It's like pretty fragile to their removal. It doesn't stop that much of their stuff. It stops some of their stuff. Maybe we just keep 1 Elesh Norn in. Should make it Nissa also. Let's be 61. Let's be 61. Yeah, you can take a look. I'll take a look at the Kethis deck at Nintendo. I'm still kind of stuck on it. Not that I haven't been like staying up all night messing with it for what it's worth. 1 land double Bean hand. So close. Gonna mulligan this one though.
Did you know Athena's just laying down in the hallway out
Yeah,
here?
she got a little startled because my sign fell.
Oh, your big sign, eh?
Yeah. my sign field.
How'd that happen?
It's anybody's guess, really.
What did you throw?
I just like stretched and smacked it.
I see. No more chair throwing.
Yeah, I also had a Grey Havens. Grey Havens was a pretty good find. I feel like Excavator seems pretty unnecessary. I hate the main deck Pact of Negation with Peace and Love. Literally only one Soul Cauldron. I don't know, I'm really far away from this. Yeah, this version this is like the Thief version. Like that's just a worse breach deck. So I guess I'm hoping they play Urborg again. Main phase Bowmasters. Guess that makes sense because they know about my Reprieve. Let's get the Raugrin Triome. Those coffers, do you lose land destruction effects, say crumble to dust, to target coffers, Urborg, or protect your mana by targeting fields? Depends. There are like very few. There's very few like you always do X or Y in a matchup decision points in Modern. Thoughts on a Tamashii Cauldron deck? I don't know. We've thought about it a little bit. We've talked about it a little bit. It does not really sound good. Alright, this is pretty painful. I'm gonna cast it though. Yeah, you can play Tamashii, Emeria, Cauldron. Oh no, it does sound good. Fuck. Goblin Engineer. Yeah, Goblin Engineer like is so good with Tamashii because it gets the Lotus Bloom in the yard. Okay, no, that deck sounds sick. Well, I'll cook it some more. Okay, very good draw. How bad is it? Yeah, we don't really care much about Leyline. We've been binding the Leyline pretty easily. Naya Triome ever considered? Yeah, I think I mentioned this, but I had a 1.4 Triomes. I didn't like that as much. I thought that was just too many tap lands. How would Heartless Summoning with Young Wolf? Yeah, it'll be a 1/1 with a +1 counter on it. One thing I dislike about Tamashii, Bowmaster stops your combo because of how Cultivator works. Yeah, yeah, we've played a few different Tamashii brews over, I guess not the years, but recently. Is that the right word? Let me finish this turn. Nice, perfect. 3 mana draw 3. That's a painful truth. And then we have like I like the Imperial Recruiter for Cultivator tech. Bowmaster, yeah, Bowmaster is good against you if you go for the Cultivator route. You don't necessarily 100% have to, but I don't think I agree that there really isn't probably anything a lot better. Oh, and then Kyle's Reconstruction can... Oh, that card's so good in Tamashii. Oh, no, I have to work on it. Fuck. Because we had this, like, Jeskai Tamashii brew a while ago. Let me see if I can find it. I maybe even deleted it because it was such a headache, but it wasn't that bad. Just kind of... I'll do some scrolling while my opponent takes the turn. Can maybe dig for it in the Mox field. Maybe we could play Emeria first. So if I draw a fetch land, I wanna... Yeah, I wanna crack that. Yeah, but we played Kyle's Reconstruction, which could the card can hit Lotus Bloom and it can hit Agatha's Soul Cauldron now. Which actually sounds really sick. And then it's also like a good mana sink for your Lotus Blooms. Can play Reconstruction. Oh no, the deck is finally, it's together. It's gonna come together. I can see it in my mind's eye. Guess I just pass. Nah, I'm gonna cast one of these actually. I think they're gonna they may be Field of Ruin me here. Maybe they target the Raugrin Triome, but doesn't really feel like we need to have the binding up anyways. I need more cards. What's the general idea behind Kethis? So you can get infinite mana with 2 embers. Yeah, so usually you win the game with the Jace, the Phyrexian Jace, and mill them out. That was the build I had. I'm still working on Kethis combo. It's been a pain, but I have not given up on it. We could have also cast the binding, but I think I want to save the binding. The binding isn't up because no swamp. Well, it's up if we, next turn. Like, there's nothing that they can play that is a good binding target that I can't just easily untap and cast on. Like they get a card here, but that's pretty okay. I guess into the 4 Thoughtseize would be the punish. Okay, so let's go Norn. Remember, Norn doubles up Nissa mana, so I can go. I guess doesn't really let me do anything super extra, huh? I suppose I get to somewhat freely. Oh no, it's right, because there's no Urborg. I can use 2 mana binding here. I get to somewhat freely exile the Leyline of the Void too, which is funny. Very surprised they boarded in Leyline against me, but that's also kind of like to some extent Coffer's Brain, or like. Not Coffer's Brain, but like their deck has a bunch of fatal pushes. Their fatal pushes are really bad against me. They're a Karn deck, so the only sideboard card is Leyline. Yeah, it has text against me for sure. Okay, they're at 9 life. Let's pass without attacking. 9 power, they're at 9 life. Let's pass without attacking. Like I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying it's. That's what happens when you play Karn in the mono black shells. And like compared to like the mono black no coffers deck gets a really good sideboard, and like people always go, oh, what's the point of playing that build? But that is a huge part of the point. Why they have protection from everything was the joke. Yeah, just baiting the chat. Okay, so there's already a trophy prediction live, so let's keep that running. I'm gonna get some coffee. Yeah, we don't have a bean, we don't have a Heartless Summoning, we don't have brought back. It's mulligan. This hand only has 1 land. Bean? Come on, dude. We're getting 25 lands. Okay, 4 cards, but we have a bean. Pretty reasonable mold 4. Two baubles. Shock's in Steam Vents, so see if we get spell pierced. Obviously, just gotta jam them when I'm mold 4. Probably a good matchup overall, though. So if we lose this one, I'm not feeling awful, and I'm feeling very good that resolved. Okay. Good chance I'm just gonna Rampant Growth to brought back, and so I can start just casting any 5-drop. And also, it'll let me go Nissa any land, trigger Nissa next turn. Potentially. Got a lot of good draws here. Playing Dice Factory first time, any tips? No, have fun. No tips here. Rio, 11 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Could maybe be baited with Nissa. Not sure. Probably have another counter spell. So they kill Nissa in response. I just get untap Godless Shrine. If not, I get a tap land of some kind. Not sure if it would be probably Indatha Triome, but it's fine. So we haven't been spell pierced yet, so we'll see if they have found one. Another Elesh Norn isn't great, I suppose. Guess that maybe the first one eats the counter spell. That's pretty likely over there. Used to like Nissa and the Bamping deck. Yeah, I do. I might go down to 2 copies. But I would play the first for sure, almost definitely the second, maybe not the third. Never the fourth. Okay, so looking for land, looking for Mulldrifter, looking for love. Found one of those things. This is a Mold of 4. Feeling pretty good. That's a 2-for-1. Oh, that's a pretty good one too. I don't think I want to evoke Solitude here. Kind of tempting though. Be very surprised if they countered this at this point. I guess this does put Elesh Norn in Unholy Heat range. They do have a third counter spell. We're 2 planes away from Emeria being online though, which is nice. And they've also already used 3 counter spells, so it's not very likely that they can deal with this. They have to have counter spell number 4 or like main deck subtlety or something. They keep a card on top with the Consider and a top with the Preordain. I'm gonna take the hit from Ragavan. It is just so likely that they have a Murktide if they're keeping cards on top. I guess I could feel pretty dumb though if they just have 2 lightning bolts. They could go Bean into Murktide here maybe. So I effectively have played around the Murktide. If they found the 4th counterspell, good shit. They also have 2 bolts. Well, there's a chance we could have beaten that, but seemed difficult to play around. This plus the Murktide. Down a game. Down a game. Let's bring in the Laydown Arms, and probably just these. I guess we could play like 1 or 2 Purge, because Blood Moon is coming. And Purge is actually maybe just better than Laydown Arms on the play. It gets Ragavan and DRC and Moon. Yeah, good Mold of 4. Let's probably cut the 7 drops against Murktide, huh? Yeah, Reprieve is not very good against the Murktide deck. It lines up against the card Murktide okay. I think, and this is not really a matchup where we can hold it up reliably either. If it was good in this kind of matchup, I would just keep it in. Okay, on the play. Snapkeep. Bean is so insane. The card is just... you just have it in your hand, you're like, oh, I'm ahead. Unless they would back up Bean if they have a Spell Pierce. They do have a Spell Pierce. What is making Reprieve worse than the other cards in the deck? Reprieve is bad against Murktide. All their spells cost 1 or 2. Remand is not good against 1 and 2 spell cost deck. I would be, of course, happy to hear like which card you want me to cut to include Reprieve, but I'm of the opinion that there is not one I would rather play in this matchup. So probably need to play Windswept Heath so I can fetch basic planes. Yeah, I don't think you need Sanctifier. Obviously, if I thought you needed it, we'd be playing it. But you could have some number, of course. We only played against Scam once today, and we like rolled a 4. It's tough. Maybe we're supposed to purge first here, actually. Annul? Freaking annul. Actual annul. I've heard people talk about it. I've never seen anybody register it. Mulldrifter? Do they have a land to play? No land to play for them. Definitely not in good shape here. That was their draw for turn. Strong in Scales Binding Ring meta? Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I just haven't actually seen someone pull the trigger on it. I'm not sure like how much more I like it than like the 4th Spell Pierce, like against like specifically Scales it's better, but Spell Pierce overall probably where I'd rather be. Okay, we maybe need to find a Solitude here. Solitude would get the job done. Okay, I can go Evoke Mulldrifter, Ephemerate it. Dead. If I'd been able to play this first, I could have like saved this with Idyllic Grange too, which would have been nice. So no trophy, but a 4-1's not too bad. Let's run it back.